A young boy discovers a demonic book that unleashes an evil spirit on his family. Strap in, movie enthusiasts. It's recap time. Today we will be recapping the movie Evil Dead Rise from the year 2023, which will give you a shiver with its old-school jump scares. Hope you enjoy the video, so let's start. The film opens with a rude couple taking care of a possessed girl named Jessica in an isolated cabin in the woods. After putting Jessica on sedatives, Caleb shows up on the river dock to scare his girl. The girl, despite being arrogant, walks away from the dock to check up on Jessica after hearing she's been put on sedatives. Inside the cabin, she uses inappropriate slurs while referring to Jessica and commands her to wake up within half an hour or else she'll run away. As the girl sits on a chair by Jessica's bedside and continues silently reading her book, Jessica sits up straight and starts reciting the lines from the book. The girl gets freaked out as Jessica's pitch slowly turns masculine and demonic. When she starts screaming in fear, Jessica falls from the bed and dies of a seizure. When the girl comes closer to Jessica to check her heartbeat, Jessica reawakens and pulls the girl's scalp out of her head with her bare hands. The ripped scalp girl goes out to seek Caleb's help, but only freaks him out. At the same time, Jessica shows up and jumps into the river. The girl tries to stop Caleb from helping Jessica, but Caleb jumps after Jessica, hoping to rescue her. Bubbles start forming in the river, and Caleb's decapitated head is thrown on the dock near the girl's feet. As she relentlessly screams, the possessed Jessica rises from the water. The scenes are then cut to a day earlier, when a struggling guitar tech named Beth is seen taking a pregnancy test in a public bathroom. Before the results can be shown, the scene shifts to Beth's sister, Ellie's, home. Ellie is currently living in a rusty apartment building along with her children, Danny, Bridget, and Cassie, a toddler. Beth shows up unannounced at Ellie's place and finds out the building is about to be demolished in a month, and Ellie has nowhere else to be. Beth pities Ellie, stating that she has lived her entire married life in this apartment with her husband. Ellie makes a cold face upon hearing her husband's name, but Beth doesn't notice. At the dinner table, while Beth gives everyone presents, she takes out one for their father, not knowing he's left them and Ellie. Ellie becomes disturbed, so she sends her kids away to grab pizza and drinks in her car. As the kids leave, Beth becomes disheartened, complaining that Ellie never called her for her help. Ellie becomes disappointed and reminds Beth that she called her twice, but Beth never responded to her. Moments later, the sisters sit together and clear out their misunderstandings. On the other hand, the kids return to their building with the pizzas and drinks. As they get to the underground garage, a very high-magnitude earthquake occurs, cracking the ground and opening up a giant hole. When Danny goes closer to the hole, he is exposed to the century-old bank setup and a rusty vault. He jumps down the hole with his phone's flashlight and takes a look around. Bridget keeps telling him to get out, as it can be dangerous down there. Before getting out of there, Danny steals a very mysterious book and a record. Meanwhile, Ellie and Beth panic upstairs and seek their neighbors' help as they fail to call the kids on their phones. A young man named Gab shows up and offers Ellie a car ride to search for her kids, but the kids show up in the elevator. Ellie hugs the kids and imposes a curfew on them for the night. Danny finds the stolen items rare and wishes to sell them to financially help his mother out, but Bridget opposes his views and tells him to place the items back where he stole them from as soon as the curfew goes down. Meanwhile, Beth helps Cassie overcome her fears and take a bath. When Bridget leaves, Danny opens the book and plays the stolen record on his record player. The recording plays the voice of a priest from 1923 who reveals the decoding of the Book of Death to find out the meaning behind the encoded chants and incantations that are drawn with human flesh and blood. All of a sudden, the priest starts chanting a spell, claiming to resurrect the dead with the chant. When Danny becomes scared of the priest's voice that keeps getting dense and acoustic, he tries to stop the recording, but it doesn't. In the meantime, Ellie is in the building's hallway with a box of belongings that she's moving out of her apartment. A strong blow of wind pushes her back inside the elevator, where the voices start speaking to her. When Ellie senses the demonic presence around her, she tries to escape, but the hanging ropes from the elevator roof get enchanted and strangle every joint in Ellie's body. As she mercilessly screams, the ropes slowly tighten up and break every bone in her body. The resurrection spell starts to show signs of evil, and the power circuit dies in Ellie's apartment, leaving the kids and Beth baffled. Beth goes to check up on Ellie but finds her bed empty. Soon, Ellie shows up with her now twigged bones and goes straight into the kitchen. She starts smashing eggs on a heated pan and tells of a horrifying dream in which she's enjoying cutting open her family. Much to everyone's dread, she turns around and gives them a glimpse of her now pale and bruised skin. Simultaneously, she gets on all fours and covers the entire floor with her vomit. From deep within, Ellie speaks to Beth for the last time before passing out, begging her not to let evil hurt her kids. Beth and Danny team up to take Ellie to the doctor. As they drag her unconscious body out in the hallway, the elevator door closes shut, and the stairs vanish in the earthquake. Ellie's mouth foams up, and she dies, leaving Beth clueless about what to do next. Beth gathers Gab and another old man from the neighborhood, who help Beth put Ellie's corpse in her bed until they find a way to exit the building. Gab and the old man decide to use the old man's tools to open the elevator doors, so they leave Beth alone. Beth sits by Ellie's corpse and sorrowfully expresses how she was never as good as her. Weirdly, Beth's phone plays Ellie's voice, which cries about Ellie being burned alive. The phone gets cracked, leaving Beth's ground shaken. At the same time, Ellie reawakens, burning up. The kids also show up and help Beth put Ellie in the bathtub as her body's burning up. Now gone horrible and rotten, the possessed Ellie climbs on the walls and screams that tremble the entire apartment. She falls down in the tub and comes out of it to attack the kids. Beth takes them away, so the demon comes after them. The possessed Ellie comes out of the bathroom and stabs Beth's hand with a broken glass since she doesn't run away from her, assuming her sister is still somewhere trapped in there. Bridget shows up and diverts her demonic mother's attention, but she gets cut by a sharp tool by the demon. Danny shows up and smacks the demon to save Bridget. While the demon picks its next victim from the kids, Gab shows up at the door. The demon attacks Gab and pokes his eyeball out with its mouth. This allows Beth to lock the door and place a cabinet in front of the door. Locked outside, the demon obliterates Gab and his kids. The old neighbor shows up with his shotgun and tries to take the demon down, but the demon doesn't get affected, resulting in the old man's obliteration. Inside the house, Bridget picks a fight with Danny, blaming his stolen book and vinyl for everything that's happening now. Beth disperses their fight and asks Danny to show her the Book of the Dead. Bridget goes to the kitchen to aid her wound, only to find a horrifying infection that's spreading fast. Left alone, Cassie approaches the peephole in the door, from which the demon inclines Cassie to open the door. Assuming her mother is getting better, Cassie opens the lock only to be choked by the demon. Beth and Danny show up, pull Cassie away, and lock the door again. Moments after this, Beth goes to check up on Bridget and finds her sitting like a frog on the kitchen counters. Beth's grounds are shaken to realize Bridget's been turned as well. Now turned into a demon, Bridget takes a grater and grates Beth's calf with it when she attempts to run away. Beth uses pans and pots to smack Bridget and get her off of her. When Danny shows up to see what's happening, Bridget attacks him and runs after him. She chases Danny to his room, where Cassie unintentionally pokes a pointy stick from one end of her mouth to the back of her head. Bridget gets knocked out, which allows Danny to tie her up to the bed in case she reawakens like his mother. Now crying and admitting everything was his fault, he gets Beth's help to fix the vinyl so she can hear the recordings and see if there's a solution to put an end to this insanity. Beth locks the kids out of the room and puts on headphones to listen to the tape. On the contrary, the demon uses the vent to infiltrate the house. As Beth listens to the priest confessing to failing to obliterate his possessed priests using every possible method, the demon crawls out of the vent right behind Beth and attacks her. Beth jabs a knife in her face and runs away to save Danny and Cassie, who have now been overshadowed by the possessed Bridget. Bridget stabs Danny and pukes a bucket full of blood on his face, which turns him into a demon as well. Cassie hides under the couch and watches the possessed Ellie attack Beth. so she slides a pair of scissors to Beth, which Beth uses to attack Ellie. This gives them enough time to run outside and escape through the fire. Escape. When Ellie comes out to attack them, Beth picks up the dead man's shotgun and severs her limbs with each shot. Things get worse as Ellie awakens all the dead people she had attacked earlier and merges with them to create a horrifying octopus-like demon. Beth takes Cassie into the elevator, where they find Ellie's car keys. Unfortunately, blood starts seeping into the elevator from every crack present in it. The demon uses the vent to infiltrate the elevator, but the blood overloads the elevator, causing it to fall down to the ground floor. Covered in blood, Beth and Cassie try to run away in Ellie's car, but the demon stops them. Hiding behind cars, Beth makes it out of the exit door, but Cassie is dragged back by the demon. The demon puts Cassie in a truck and tries to decapitate her head using a chainsaw, but Beth comes to rescue her. After a struggling fight, Beth gets her hands on the chainsaw. She pushes the demon into a giant shredder and asks Cassie to turn it on. When Cassie turns it on, the conjoined demon gets shredded into pieces, putting an end to Beth and Cassie's miserias. Covered in blood, the Outnice duo walks out. The next day, Jessica is shown as a resident of that cursed building. She prepares to leave for the lake house that Caleb's dad has rented for them. But the demons get to her in the parking lot, which explains what was wrong with Jessica in the beginning of the film. Here, the film ends. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.